Hello, my loves. Guess what? It's Tuesday. And not only that, we're cruising into another full moon, which is all about letting go of what no longer serves you, right? Like it illuminates it. It makes it so easy for us to see these things. And today's message about letting go has a bit of an interesting twist. Honestly, though, this whole series has been full of interesting twists. When I have sat down each time to write notes and asked what's the highest to share for those who are struggling with courage and confidence, I have been absolutely blown away by the different avenues that we have taken to access our courage and confidence. So today, we're on part 3 already of our Courage and Confidence series, which is a series about moving forward with courage, with confidence, to empower you to take those steps on your path towards the life that you visualize. You can see it in your mind's eye, right? Well, guess what? Those dreams aren't in you to torture you because you're never going to be able to actualize them. Actually, no, they're in you because they're for you. Did you hear that? Your dreams are in you because they're for you. And this whole series, we've been talking about different aspects of what creates courage and confidence to move into that new unexplored territory in your life. Last week, if you remember, we talked about how to move beyond fear when it shows up, because it will. It's part of the way that we're wired to be hyper vigilant to what might be a threat. So that was a huge piece of our courage and confidence puzzle. And if you haven't watched it yet, or the first 2 videos in the series, I really invite you to head over and check out those other videos. I can post them in the comment section below. So the reason is because if you're working on creating anything in your life, whether it's something big like a new business or it's something smaller like just a new habit, both are equally life-changing, right? And both of them will come with their own resistance. And last week's video specifically talked about how to move beyond the fear and resistance that pops up when we begin heading in a new direction. And I have heard from several people, thank you for those who commented, how perfectly timed this specific video series is for them and the awarenesses that they're receiving that are really changing the way that they think. And that fear factor is starting to dissipate just by opening up to these new awarenesses. That's exciting. So if you haven't checked it out, go look out those first 2 videos. Each video, honestly, is great as a standalone, of course, but exponentially more powerful when you're able to listen to them in a sequential pattern. Okay, so if you're wanting to book a call with me, it's the only way to get into my new course, which is called You've Got Miracles. And wowza, guys, this course I wish I had found when I was in my 20s. It would have definitely changed my life. It takes so many different aspects of how to create the life you want and puts them all together. 42 days, you will be a new you. You will know your purpose. And you'll be also connecting to your inner spark. I have talked about this in previous videos. You will connect to your intuition so that you're able to clearly hear the guidance that you need as you move forward, creating that really magnificent life that you desire and you deserve. There's so much waiting for you in escrow, a whole storehouse of miracles. So if you're still sitting in your life wondering how you're going to solve that relationship issue or your money problems, this course is for you. It's literally like the key that opens the door so you can finally step across that threshold and stop chasing those shiny objects. Because honestly, when you wake up and you realize you're the only shiny object that you're ever going to need and that you have the power to make your dreams come true, then you have all the keys to the kingdom. And it really, I've noticed it really helps my clients to unlearn struggle and self-doubt. How does that sound? Who could handle a little less struggle and a whole lot less self-doubt in their life? Can you just imagine that for a second, how much more freer your life would feel without that ball and chain holding you back? So this week, we're going to go a little deeper. Remember last week we talked about Columbus and all he went through. And despite his struggles, his curiosity kept him searching. It kept him motivated until he was finally able to discover what he knew was out there waiting for him. And I've mentioned this so much lately. But the universe must really want you guys to hear this message. It is waiting for you. It has. It always will be right there, just waiting for you to access it. And today, I'm going to open up your awareness just a tiny bit more and show you how to access it, how to access your dreams, your desires that you most definitely deserve. So, how do we do it? Well, simply put, by making powerfully and aligned choices. But this is where many people get stuck, right? We receive that urge, that inner restlessness to create something new, to change, to shift, to transform something. And then what do? We overlay our old maps on top of that new opportunity. And just like that, the magic fizzles. How many of you do this? You imagine your desire, and then you take out the old map from the past, you blow the dust off them, and then to get to somewhere amazing and different in the future, you're trying to use those old maps from the past. Didn't Einstein say insanity is doing the same thing except expecting different results? And that's kind of what we're doing, right? We pull out those old maps that got us to where we are. And that becomes our strategy for the future. And then we get all frustrated because we all end up with more of the same from the past. Well, today it's time to jump off of that hamster wheel, my loves, because you're not a hamster. You are so much more. But you've been riding that wheel in circles, waiting for something to change or for someone else to change, right? With the expectation that when they do, your life will change. How's that working for you so far? Probably not awesome. So, as I've said before, if you want the story to change, you need to change the main character. And to do that, you will need a different map other than the ones that you've used before. Guys, don't go back. Don't touch those old maps. They're dusty, they're old, they're not your future. So my desire is to help you to tap into the potential of your dreams, your desires, the magic and miracles that are waiting for you to turn that key and to open the door to the storehouse. Not just sit at that doorstep for the next 10 years wondering how you're going to access it. When we try to logically wrap our heads around how to hear messages and how to make choices towards our dreams, what happens? Right, our ego mind freaks out. We start feeling all anxious because there's no familiar structure to that way of thinking. Well, this is like going into a new country without a map. Fully embracing the adventure and really seeing it as a new opportunity to explore something awesome. But that's not what we do, is it? Nope. We download a map on our phones and then we still ask people for directions. And really, the whole time, all of these amazing sights and experiences are just sitting there waiting for you to come to them. So the idea is not to wait for them to come to us or for our dreams to come true for us, but it's really about becoming true to them and becoming that person who's willing to explore and experience something new. Someone who's more engaged in their curiosity, like we talked about last week, and being willing to take the steps, willing to make those choices. Guess what, guys? Here's a tip. You can actually outrun anxiety that wants to pop up. You want to know how? By making choices. So think of it this way. Anxiety is like molasses in January. So I live up here where it's cold and it's actually snowing again today, even though we're in April, right? And molasses, when you try and pour it out of a container when it's cold, it's really thick and dark and sludgy and it moves really slow and it kind of just creeps up on you, right? Well, guess what? When you're making choices, you're actually staying ahead of that. And it only has time to take over your situation, to take over your emotional body if you're standing still. Otherwise, it's not able to catch up with you. So we need to keep making these powerfully aligned choices. Kind of like hopscotch, right? You just got to keep hopping, keep moving forward. Like nothing happens when your car is in neutral. You'll only ever get to your destination when you put your car in drive and you give it a little gas. Did you see that? Right there. 2 choices. Put it in drive, number 1. Number 2, give it a little gas. You probably aren't even aware of how many choices you make every day, but I invite you to begin to notice them because each choice actually has the power to change the trajectory of your day. Even the little ones that seem small and meaningless, like which route should you take to work, or simple things like maybe what you should wear. All of these things, they seem so mundane, but it actually, you put on a certain outfit, it's going to change the way you feel during the day, right? So even those things, they all affect your day. They all hold within them the power to alter your course. Those choices that you make are what get things moving. So when you're standing there at a Y in a road, say you have a big decision to make and you're kind of procrastinating because you haven't made that decision yet. So you're right there at the Y in the road. Don't hang out there. Don't wait for anxiety to roll in. Make a choice and keep moving. Listen, this is a big part of what I teach. You can live your life like you're a victim and like things are coming at you, or you can live your life like you're a creator and you go out and intentionally make the choices each day. Because each choice you make is rooted in that identity of victim or creator. Which one do you want to be? And I'm going to give you a huge tip here that's straight out of my course. When you're making decisions, ask yourself, am I making this choice from my creator identity or from my victim identity? You can actually feel the difference if you allow yourself to step into each role, right? You can feel if you're in a power zone or if you're in a zone where you feel a little bit depleted. So to go along with this, I had an epiphany a while ago that I'm not actually Rachael Poffenroth. I know you would all argue with that, and I probably used to, or I probably would have in my past, but really what I am is a soul. I'm a soul experiencing the life of Rachael Poffenroth, which means I'm no longer actually tied or anchored to the stories of my past. It was all just a compilation of experiences up to this point. That's all that my past is, which instantly then led me to feeling lighter, freer, and the pressure that I put on myself to be perfect in my presentation had instantly melted. I am just here to experience a facet of myself as I participate in my evolution. But when I used to over-identify with Rachael and her really crappy past and all the pain and betrayal and injustices she went through, I would feel like I was a prisoner to those stories, and being a prisoner, I couldn't feel like anything could change. And they would be the limit to what I could achieve in the future because I'm using the old map. And like attracts like. So guess what happens? It would continue to perpetuate and it would continue to attract the same cycles within the next scene and the one after that and so on. But I want to know. I want to discover, to experience what's beyond that. I want to stay in the same repeatable path. I've already done it. It has a known ending. I want to switch things up, right? I want to discover, like Christopher Columbus, what's on the other side of the water. What is that land that's just sitting out there waiting to be explored? What other options are available? It's kind of like those choose your own adventure books. Remember those? My kids love them, and I used to too. I think they're genius. Because as you finish each segment of a book, like a chapter or something like that, it tells you. You have an option, right? You go to page 10 and let the villain get caught, or go to page 15 and watch him cause destruction in another situation. And the only way to stop that hamster wheel from its incessant turning is to get off it, right? To make the choice, to become present with the options that you have and to choose a path that you've never taken before. And in that way, experience a new aspect of what's available to you. When we keep pulling yesterday's ideas and concepts into today, we're massively limiting the experience that could be here right now. Every day is a fresh start, and it's a potential is always existing. You lived yesterday. You lived in your past. There's nothing new or interesting there. Whenever you go back, it's like more of the same. It's kind of like reading the same book 20 or 30 times or rewatching a movie every day for decades. That's super boring. It lacks pizzazz and excitement. You already know the plot and the ending, so why not try something new? Because we don't smother today with yesterday's dirt, right? If you were to go out and buy a new car, you're not going to go filthy it up. You're going to enjoy it being new. It doesn't matter how shiny and new today is. It instantly is still going to become dirty as soon as you put yesterday's dirt on it. So I'm not suggesting that you ignore yesterday or the past, but rather choose to focus on what's here now in this moment. That's how you really get into that miracle mastery that I teach about. Learning how to tap into it. So for a moment with me, think about a maple tree. For those of you who don't know, I'm Canadian. And one of the yummiest commodities that we offer the world comes from these massive trees. The liquid gold was discovered by indigenous people who tapped into these maple trees by cutting that V-shaped pattern into the bark and then inserting little tubes into the tree. They had these little birch bark bowls that were placed beneath where it was dripping out of this tap to catch this watery sap that dripped out of the tube into the early spring. And some tribes, they left the sap out in the cold and they threw away the frozen water that separated from that brown, thick, sugary syrup, while other tribes boiled the sap down into a caramelized syrup by adding, hot rocks and birch bark in birch bark pots. Wow, mouthful. Unlike this, mass manufactured store-bought stuff, this syrup is not only flavorful, but it's so full of beneficial minerals for your body. So we don't need to overcomplicate it, right? We don't need to make this a mental tug of war every time you make a decision. It's simple. Your soul is experiencing each moment through your earth experience. And each choice that you make is another aspect of your evolution. So as long as you're learning and you're evolving and you're growing, you aren't and you can't get it wrong. What possibilities could today have for you if you realize that? So I encourage you to live each day. Every moment has its own square where the syrup doesn't flow into until it's tapped into. Like tapping into the tree to harness that delicious sweetness, and the guidance will be expressed when you make the choice to tap into it. How would they ever access that sweetness of the maple syrup if they never made the choice to tap into it? It would still be sitting in there, right? It's still in the tree, but no one would be enjoying that delectable flavor on their waffles or their pancakes. So guys, the bottom line, the key takeaway, my loves, is that the truth, the guidance that you seek is only accessed in the now. Everything else is a reflection of your old map that you were using, and it doesn't apply unless you want to go backwards. Guys, the reason that the windshield is 1,000 times bigger than that rearview mirror is because the visibility of where you're going needs to be the focus, not that tiny little mirror behind you, which reflects where you just came from. So I hope in this video today, it helped you to see how you can create the life that you desire by making powerful and aligned choices. And wake up to the realization that it's all sitting there like that maple syrup in the maple trees. It's just waiting for you to tap into it. You absolutely can and will supercharge your confidence and your courage to chart a new course and create your own map, but it starts with those powerfully aligned decisions. So if you feel like you need a little bit more help, right, knowing how to formulate those powerful aligned decisions, those choices that are going to help you to create your map rather than continuing to retravel the old worn out journey, I invite you to book an interview call with me to see if you're a good fit for this course. Because to become a miracle master, you absolutely need to know how to make those powerful decisions and make them rapidly so anxiety doesn't have a chance to creep in. I would love for you to share how you're going to use this message in your day, in the coming week, in the comment section below. And make sure to like and share with anyone who you feel might need a little boost, who maybe they struggle with anxiety or they struggle with decision paralysis. Just send this along to them and it might help them to stay motivated towards their dreams as well. All right, my loves, I hope that you have a beautiful week. And remember, we're back next week with another video in the series of what it takes to live a great life full of confidence and courage. Much love, guys. And remember, you are the magnificent creators of your life. Mwah.